Deep in the Swiss Alps, there stood an abandoned sanatorium closed in the 1950s. This place was once known as a medical center for hopeless cases. However, their patients began disappearing one by one and doctors met mysterious deaths. The sanatorium was shut down years later for friends Emma, Lucas, Sophie. Daniel decided to spend a night there to uncover its secrets. At midnight, they arrived at the sanatorium. The massive doors creaked open, inviting them into a cold, gloomy hallway inside. The building was filled with dusty medical equipment, broken beds, and strange symbols scrawled across the walls. Emma, the group's leader, carried a voice recorder to document everything. Lucas was snapping photos with his camera, while Sophie, a psychology student, was fascinated by the history of the place. Daniel, the skeptic, was reluctant about the whole adventure. As they walked through the corridors, they began to hear faint whispers coming from the walls. Sophie tried to brush it off, saying it must be the wind, but the voices grew clearer. Emma held her recorder closer to the walls and pressed stop, only to realize the voices continued to play back. "This is impossible," she muttered. When they reached the upper floor, they stopped at a door labeled Dr. Heinrich Vogel. Inside, the walls were covered in medical notes and drawings. Sophie started reading aloud. The patients claimed the walls speak to them. "Do not listen, they are real." Suddenly, the whispers from the walls grew louder. Lucas shouted, "There's something here," and began taking photos of the walls. But the pictures revealed faces and hands emerging from the surface. Emma turned on her recorder again, and this time, a clear voice said, "Get out." Daniel, panicking, yelled, "This is a trap. We need to leave." But the doors locked themselves, and footsteps echoed through the halls. Sophie looked back at the notes and read. Dr. Vogel was trying to control the patients' minds. But something went wrong. At that moment, a shadow appeared in the center of the room. Moving toward them, Emma screamed, "This isn't real. It's just an illusion." But the shadow grew more defined. Lucas pointed his camera at it and snapped a photo. The flash went off, and the shadow vanished instantly. But then, blood began to seep from the walls. By morning, local authorities found 3 people outside the sanatorium: Emma, Sophie, and Lucas. Daniel was nowhere to be found. The 3 were in shock, unable to remember what had happened. Emma still clutched her voice recorder, but it was broken. Sophie held Dr. Vogel's notes tightly, but the pages were blank. Lucas checked his camera, only to find all the photos had been erased. From that day on, the sanatorium was sealed off and no one dared to go near it. But locals claimed to see shadows moving in the windows at night and hear whispers coming from the walls. As for Daniel, he was never found. Some say he's still trapped within the walls of the sanatorium.